Now let's analyse some of the vocabulary from Mr. Know-All by Somerset Maugham. We've already looked at the 2+ infinitives and the gerunds and the participles, and they are still in yellow. Just to remind you, you can see things like adjective plus passive 2+ infinitive, yeah, and so here's another adjective plus infinitive, and so that's just to remind you of that grammar. But we're going to focus on the parts in grey, which is the vocabulary. Okay, so it starts with the sentence, I was prepared to dislike Max Kellarder even before I knew him. Yeah, which is quite a strange thing to say, isn't it, when you think about it? But this is prejudice. A good word for this kind of attitude is prejudice. And of course, we do all have prejudices. We do all judge people too early sometimes. And he was certainly judging Max Kellarder too early. And so it starts with that rather nasty sentence, I was prepared to dislike him even before I knew him. The war had just finished, and the passenger traffic in the ocean-going liners was heavy. Accommodation was very hard to get, and you had to put up with whatever the agents, the travel agents, chose to offer you. Now remember this phrasal verb, put up with. We use it very often. It even appears in this story on page 4 or 5 again. Yeah, and it means tolerate. Yeah, you had to tolerate whatever the agents, the travel agents gave you. You could not hope for, now do remember these verbs and prepositions, because the prepositions are so hard in English. Hope for, but when you use it as a noun, you talk about a hope of something. And so you've got to learn all the verbs and prepositions, the nouns and prepositions, and you do that by just repetition. So you could not hope for a cabin to yourself, and I was thankful to be given one in which there were only 2 berths. A berth is a bed in a boat or on a train, or, you know, I just bought a tent recently and it was a 6 berth tent, meaning that you can get 6 people in that tent. 6 people can sleep in that tent. So a berth is a sleeping space. It's a bed in a boat or a train or a tent. But when I was told the name of my companion, my heart sank, which means I became a bit depressed. Yeah, when your heart sinks, it means you get sad about something. And he was sad because of his name. He didn't like this name, Max Kellarder. It suggested closed portholes and the night air rigidly excluded. Okay, he thinks that the person won't want to open the windows. Yeah, I mean, a porthole is like a window. On a boat, it's those circular, glass circular parts which are windows. It was bad enough to share a cabin, and notice that we do say a cabin for a room on a boat. It was bad enough to share a cabin for 14 days with anyone. I was going from San Francisco to Yokohama. But I should have looked upon it with less dismay if my fellow passenger's name had been Smith or Brown.